Good afternoon or good morning, everyone, and welcome to our TED Talk. Today, I'm going to be discussing the topic of problems that individuals, specifically in South Africa, face, as well as solutions as to how we might solve these problems, or at least ease the lives of affected users. Allow me to give a brief synopsis of the problem that we are going to be talking about. Load shedding is an event that occurs when there's a high demand of electricity but an insufficient amount of what's available to support the demand. This leads to scheduled power cuts for a set period across various parts in South Africa in order to allow for restoration of the watts. This event negatively affects their lifestyles, some more than others, as they cannot operate the way they normally do, which can lead to further issues which are concerning for the affected individual's well-being. Through this, we can see how this event can be a problem in society, and therefore a solution or a method is needed to ease this event. Our partners and I followed a process specifically related to the concepts of problem solving and design thinking in order to find a meaningful solution. I will now be providing an overview of this process. Firstly, we designed a fishbone diagram of the cause and effect of load shedding, which will provide, which will provide us, as well as other viewers, a short but important information about the causes and effects of the problem, which can easily be read. Furthermore, the diagram provided viewers with opportunity to find out the main roots of the problem, as well as brainstorm ideas as to how some of the listed causes can be solved. We then created an empathizing phase where we looked at different affected users of load shedding and how each of them are affected differently due to different lifestyles. We mainly focused on the low class end users as they are the ones who are heavily affected by load shedding. In order to gain more insight about these individuals that are affected, we focused on a sample size of 10 individuals to use for empathetic research. With the use of banner ads, we could get these users to fill out a questionnaire related to load shedding in order for us to find out about their experiences with it. Last phase we conducted was to define the problem, which is load shedding, in order to really find ways to solve it or reduce it. With the use of research, we conducted an empathetic phase. No, with the use of the research we conducted in the empathetic phase, we found three key insights. The first insight was that the end user was affected or is affected and is struggling financially. And the second is that the end user is very unhappy at load shedding. And then the last is that the end user wants to change their financial situation but is challenged by load shedding. Through this, we came up with the conclusion that when it comes to reaching out to the end user, their current living conditions do not allow them to access the internet and other essentials that they need in their lives. We then came to our three significant how we might statements, which can help when coming up with solutions. The statements goes as follows. The first statement is how we might offer support for low income individuals in order to improve communication. The second statement is how we might spread awareness for low income individuals in order to improve mental and physical well being. The last statement is how we might create job opportunities for low income individuals in order to ease the financial struggle. We will now be focusing on the ideation phase of this TED Talk, where we will be brainstorming ideas, principles, and concepts which will help in solving and reducing load shedding. With the three how we might listed statements that were listed above, we will be using one of them to create ideas for solutions to the problem detailed above. That statement, the statement that we will be using in the how we might statements, sorry, I mean, the statement that will be used in the how we might offer support for low-income individuals in order to improve communication. This is the one that we will use. Um, Myself and four other individuals, we held an ideation session to find ideas through the statement. We all discussed different ideas relating to the how we might statement. in order to find ways to resolve the identified problem. Some ideas that were listed were the creation of a funding site in order to donate cash to the low-income affected users. You can purchase airtime or data to be able to communicate during load shedding. The hosting of an event where individuals can donate their old cell phones to low-income individuals who may not have functional phones. And the last is the funding of solar systems in order for the users to be able to generate electricity to use during load shedding when it occurs. Making use of two ideation tools, we were able to design a mind map and a storyboard, which offers ideas as to how load shedding affects the low income users and how it can be resolved. The mind map, which I'm presenting now, showcases a list of ideas which can be used to solve the problem at hand. Whereas the storyboard highlights the experience the user would experience, no, highlights the experience that the user would experience when load shedding occurs, specifically during a call. We will now be developing three core design principles which are relevant to load shedding. The first principle is inspiration, where we are motivated into solving the load shedding problem affecting the low-income user's ability to communicate, as these individuals are having a more difficult time dealing with the problem compared to others. In 2020, the world was faced with a global pandemic which affected everyone, but was resolved as time passed due to the cooperation of individuals. Therefore, this problem can too be solved. The second principle is ideation, where we will list the ideas where one will be picked and utilized. This this idea will be brought to life and will be the main focus into solving the problem at hand. Feedback will be utilized to make sure we stay on track and deliver the best solution. And the final principle is implementation, where we will design a prototype that will be sampled by other individuals in order to gain the best insight and feedback that will be used to create the best product to relieve load shedding for the low income individuals, especially when it comes to communication. We will now be looking at concepting from the information ideas that we gathered. Concept that we will use to resolve load shedding is renewable energy. We will create an online funding site that will detail the cause of the funding and what is needed from supporters. In order to gain supporters, the use of social media apps will be used to spread awareness of the problem that we're trying to solve, as well as the funding side. We will then gain funds, and use the excess amount of cash gathered into fencing the solar systems. These systems will be tested by experts in order to make sure they are safe and environmentally friendly. Once this event has taken place, we will view township areas with the with locals and select the piece of land where we can place these solar panels. The last topic we'll touch upon on this TED Talk is the concept of prototyping. The first prototype that we created was a basic funding site. The funding site includes information about the company we created called Empower. The users are able to access this funding site through a link that will be provided on social media platforms. The funding site provides information about the company as well as the problem at hand. When the user scrolls down, they'll be able to when the user scrolls down to the bottom of the site, they'll be able to come across a link that allows them to make donations towards this cause. The final prototype we created is more advanced funding site. Improvements were made to the funding site based on feedback we received from some of the end users. Majority of our end users said our initial funding site lacked information, and they would like more information about the problem and rural communities are facing. Some of our end users also said they would like information based around the cost and funding of these solar systems as how they would be maintained. After analyzing the feedback, we then implemented these changes. Thank you all for being a part of this TED Talk. Myself and the team hope you learned some information when it comes to design thinking and problem solving. Thank you.